You are probably losing your Slay the Spire 2 runs before they even start in Act 1. At max Ascension, a strong Act 1 can snowball into a win, and it's extremely difficult to recover from a weak Act 1. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play Act 1 effectively. This guide is going to be broken up into 5 parts. 1. The general strategy. 2. Act 1 pathing. 3. Choosing your Neow Bonus. 4. How and when to fight elites. 5. And finally, I will walk through some example Act 1 so you can see the concepts in action. Now let's jump in. Part 1. General Strategy. In Act 1, you want to improve your deck as much as possible while minimizing the risk of death. This is very important to ensure you do not struggle in Act 2. Your main resources to spend in Act 1 are HP and gold, and you need to trade HP aggressively to accumulate deck power while still surviving the act. Different nodes can provide different resources in exchange for a cost. The cost can be either your HP, gold, or potion, or the opportunity cost of not going to another node. In the next section, we will discuss each of the nodes in detail and pathing strategies to ensure that the run is a success. Part 2. Pathing. Selecting a path is one of the most important aspects of the game, and it's particularly important in Act 1. Before we can talk about how to select a path, we need to discuss what each of the nodes represents. Elite nodes. They provide the most resources out of all nodes. It drops a relic, more gold, increased chance to drop a potion, and increased chance to drop a rare card. Elite nodes are also the most dangerous. It can cost you a significant amount of HP and or a potion if your deck is weak. The risk is greatly reduced in the later half of the act as your deck is improved. Therefore, late elites are extremely valuable. Campfires. They allow you to upgrade a card or rest for HP. The value of upgrading a card depends on what's actually in your deck, but on average, it is quite strong. A good upgrade is usually better than the reward from a normal combat. Recovering HP allows you to spend that HP later in the act for more rewards. This is also quite strong if the path later is dangerous. Easy hallways. The first 3 hallway fights of Act 1 are easy hallways, and the enemies are from a different pool compared to the rest of the act. The reward is a card reward, gold, chance to drop a potion. All 3 of these rewards are extremely valuable to help us prepare for the first elite fight. The easy hallways are essentially free, and I highly recommend fighting all 3 before stepping into your first elite node. Advanced hallways. After the easy hallways, all hallways are advanced. The enemies are from a harder pool. The rewards are the same as easy hallways, but the risk is greatly increased. Stacking too many advanced hallways early can drain resources without offering the strong rewards that elite do. I recommend not taking too many of these before your first elite fight. Like elite fights, advanced hallways also gets easier as your deck improves, so you can pretty much path into them without too much issue later in the act. Shops. The reward of shops is a function of your current gold. The more gold you have, the better the shop is. There are some important gold thresholds to keep in mind. Common relic is around 149 to 201 gold. Shock relic is between 170 and 230 gold. Uncommon relic is between 191 to 259 gold. A rare relic is between 234 and 316 gold. If you can reach one of these gold thresholds before entering a shop, it can be advantageous to do so. Every relic can only appear once during a run. If you enter a shop without enough gold, you risk missing out on a run-defining relic. Even if you don't open the shop page, the relic is still gone. I recommend not pathing into an early Act 1 shop if you did not gain gold from Neow. Exception being your card rewards are bad and you have no potions, then you may need to buy cards or potions from the shop to survive Act 1. Events. There are many possible events in Act 1. On average, the rewards are at least on par compared to a hallway fight. Note that some of the events give you gold, so events have a slightly higher value if it's right before a shop. Even though some of the events have a life loss as an option, you do not necessarily have to take that option. Therefore, the event nodes are usually quite safe compared to an advanced hallway. A common reason why you will want to path into an Act 1 event is to avoid an advanced hallway when your deck is not suited for the fight. Now, here's my recommendation on how to select a path. First, identify the highest value path. Prioritize the path with most elites, then followed by most campfires. Ideally, you have the option to take at least 3 hallway fights before the first elite, and not forced to take 4 hallway fights. 2. Consider if the path is actually doable. A 3 elite path with no campfires before the 3rd elite is rarely safe. If the highest value path is questionable, consider if you can pivot midway through. The option to pivot is extremely valuable. It means you can extract more value out of the act if the run is going well, and can be safer if the run is weak. 3. Consider how your Neow blessings shape your options. Immediate power makes the more dangerous path more approachable, while long-term power makes a safer Act 1 a bit better than usual. 4. Evaluate other paths if the highest value path is not doable. Part 3. Neow. The Neow bonus is the first major decision of the run. It can often shape how your Act 1 and rest of the run pans out. They are also very map dependent. A good bonus on one map could be terrible on another. For example, if the blessing gives you gold, you need a shop for it to do anything. So before selecting your Neow bonus, look at the act layout first. Neow bonus also ties into selecting a path. A bonus that gives you immediate power power will let you take a more difficult path, and you might want to take a safer path if it provides a long-term bonus. Let's break down each of the Neow bonuses and discuss when to pick them. I'm going to be breaking down the Neow bonuses into separate categories. The first category is always click. These Neow bonuses are so strong you can click them on basically every map. The second category is need high value path. These Neow bonuses helps you in the short term to extract more value out of Act 1. The next category is need safe path. These Neow bonuses provide you with a long-term bonus, but you need to play safer in Act 1. The fourth category is need flexible path. You do not know the output of these Neow bonuses before you click on them. Therefore, you want to have multiple options for pathing throughout the act. And finally, we have the low value Neow bonuses, which are pretty much never taken. So first off, we have Arcane Scroll. Upon pickup, obtain a random rare card added to your deck. Arcane Scroll is a Neow bonus that requires you to have a flexible path, since you do not know what rare card you are going to be getting. Sometimes the rare card is a front-loaded rare card that allows you to farm more elites in Act 1. Sometimes the rare card is a more greedy rare card that's a long-term power boost that you have to play safer in Act 1. There are also some rare cards that have extremely valuable upgrades, so sometimes you would also want to path to a campfire as soon as possible. Therefore, Arcane Scroll does demand some flexible pathing in Act 1, but it's generally pretty decent. Next up, we have Booming Conch. At the start of elite combat, draw 2 additional cards. Now, this on the surface might be a high value path Neow bonus, but in practice, it provides very little value. Generally, the issues with fighting elites in Act 1 is your deck doesn't have enough output. So drawing 2 additional cards on turn 1 would just draw into a natural strike or defend, which does not help you to kill the elites. And later down the line, when your deck is improved, this is also way too conditional. It doesn't help you in the most difficult fights, the boss fights, so it ends up being a low value Neow bonus. Next up, we have Curse Pearl. Upon pickup, receive Greed, gain 333 gold. 333 gold is a lot of gold, so this Neow bonus is quite good if you can path to an early shop. However, the things you buy in that early shop can also affect your pathing. You could buy a relic that's very good in the long term, so you do not want to take on more elites in Act 1. Or you can buy cards and potions that's very good in the short term, then you want to get more elites in Act 1. So Curse Pearl also requires you to have a pretty flexible path and an early shop. If you can't meet those conditions, it is quite a strong bonus. One exception is the Regent character. I have found that adding a curse on the Regent is really bad, and generally you do not want to take curse for gold on the Regent. Next up, similarly, Golden Pearl, upon pickup, gain 150 gold. Pretty much what I have said applies for both Golden Pearl and Curse Pearl. The only difference is Golden Pearl does not give you a curse, so Regent can happily take this Neow option. It's just a lower variance but lower maximum value Neow option compared to Curse Pearl. If you do have an early shop, it is pretty good. Next up, we have Hefty Tablet. Upon pickup, choose one of 3 rare cards to add to your deck and add 1 injury to your deck. So this is a curse to choose a rare card, and the curse is just an injury. It doesn't do anything other than being a brick. Now, generally, choosing a rare card means you are always going to be getting a good rare card. So Hefty Tablet usually will provide you with some decent value. However, you do not know if the rare card is going to be a very strong front-loaded rare card or a scaling rare card. So this option also demands the act to have a flexible path. You can decide your pathing after looking at the rare cards. Overall, I do think this is also a decent value Neow option. I like it a bit more than adding a random rare card to your deck, since you have the opportunity to choose. And the injury curse could be removed, so I'm pretty happy to take Hefty Tablet if the act allows it. Next up, we have Large Capsule. Upon pickup, obtain 2 random relics, adding additional strike and defend to your deck. Adding an additional strike and defend to your deck is a pretty large downside. However, 2 random relics is a lot of relics, and they are not common relics. They are random from any rarity. It's just common relics are more likely to happen. Large Capsule really demands you to utilize the short-term power of the relics to fight as many elites as possible before the downside of more strikes and defend start to kicking later on in the run. So if you have a very high value pathing act, you can get a lot of elites. You can consider taking Large Capsule. Otherwise, I would not consider this Neow option, since adding 2 more base cards is quite detrimental. Next up, we have Lava Rock. The Act 1 boss drops 2 relics. So the Act 1 boss normally drops no relics. Now it drops 2 relics. And the 2 relics are weighted, so you can get common, uncommon, or rare relics. So this essentially is delayed 2 more relics, which translates to roughly 2 elites, but you don't get the card rewards. So if you can survive Act 1, Lava Rock is quite high value. So if you have a safe path available, you can consider taking Lava Rock. Next up, we have a Lead Paperweight. Upon pickup, choose one of 2 colorless cards to add to your deck. And those are uncommon colorless cards. Most colorless cards in this game are very good, and getting to choose between one of 2 usually means you will never see 2 bad options. So Lead Paperweight provides a lot of value. However, there are colorless cards that's strong strong immediately, and there are colorless cards that's going to be strong later. So this is pretty similar to choosing a rare card. In a sense, you need to have a more flexible path in Act 1 to be able to pick this option. Next up, we have Leafy Poultice. Upon pickup, transform one of your strike and one of your defense and lose 12 max HP. This is by far the strongest Neow option in the game. 12 max HP doesn't even matter because you start the wrong damage, so it doesn't even lose HP immediately. And transforming away to base card and adding 2 random cards is usually very strong. Even if the transforms brick, they are still usually better than strikes and defense. If you get some awkward synergy piece that doesn't do anything on floor 1, you can also have some direction for deck building and link into these synergies. Usually you will always click transform 2 over any other Neow options. Next up, we have Lost Coffer. Upon pickup, gain a card reward, procure a random potion. So this Neow bonus is very strong in the first half of Act 1. You get to look at another card reward and have a potion to spend, perhaps on your first elite, and it rapidly falls off later half of the act and for the rest of the run. Lost Coffer is okay if you have a dangerous path and you just need more short-term power to get through them. Otherwise, it doesn't provide a lot of value. Next up, we have Neow's Talisman. Upon pickup, upgrade the defense and the strike. So similarly, very strong in the first half of the act, where your base cards are getting played more often. This just saves you more HP in hallway fights and in elite fights. However, as the run goes on, the value of this Neow bonus rapidly falls off. So to take Neow's Talisman, you would also want to have a high value path available for you in Act 1. Next up, we have Neow's Torment. Upon pickup, add a Neow's Fury to your deck. Neow's Fury is 1 energy, 10 damage, exhaust. Put 2 random cards from your discard pile into your hand. Unfortunately, Neow's Fury is not a good card. It's not even a card I would usually add to my deck as a card reward. So Neow's Torment end up being a not very good Neow option. So it will be going into the low value section. Next up, we have New Leaf. Upon pickup, transform a card. New Leaf is quite good. It's quite decent value. However, since you don't know what the transform is going to be, you do want to have different options open for pathing. So it will need a flexible path. Next up, we have Oyster. Upon pickup, raise your max HP by 11. This is another low value Neow option. Generally, any other Neow option is going to save you more than 11 HP in the act. So raising your max HP by 11 doesn't help you in Act 1. And as your run goes on, the max HP also usually does not matter. They're just better Neow options to be taken. Next up, we have Pomander. Upon pickup, upgrade a card. This is a little bit class dependent, but on average, the upgrades to your base deck is not very good. So Pomander, for example, compared to Neow's Talisman upgrade 2 cards. This upgrades 1 card. Even though you get to upgrade the non-base card, they are not going to be more valuable than upgrading 2 separate cards. So this also ends up being a pretty low value Neow option. Next up, we have Precarious Shares. Upon pickup, remove 2 cards from your deck and lose 16 HP. This is pretty obvious. Losing 6 HP is quite a dangerous proposition of floor 1. So you do need a safe path to be able to take this Neow option. However, removing 2 cards is very, very powerful. So I would consider taking this if the act allows it. Next up, we have Precise Scissors. So similarly to the remove 2, this is just remove 1 without the HP downside. So this kind of demands a flexible path since you don't really know what cards are going to be in your deck. If you just path to a dangerous path without any way to pivot, you could just get no good card rewards and you cannot fight elites. So I would say this do demand a flexible path. Sometimes you do get good card rewards and you can fight a lot of elites, and sometimes you cannot do that. It's a bit of a nothing Neow bonus. Remove 1 is not that impactful. I would say it's very good on the Regent since Regent just loves card removes. And to a sense, Defect also loves card removes. But otherwise, it's kind of mediocre, but you can take it if it's nothing better to do. Next up, we have Scroll Boxes. Upon pickup, lose all gold. Choose 1 of 2 packs of cards to add to your deck. Losing all gold is losing 99 gold, which is quite a lot. You're paying 99 gold for a card pack. You get to look at both card packs, and each card pack has 3 cards in them. Generally speaking, the cards are gonna make your deck much better immediately. So if you are taking Scroll Boxes, you will want to extract a lot of value out of Act 1 to fight as many elites as possible. So if you have a dangerous path available, you could consider Scroll Boxes. Next up, we have Silver Crucible. The first 3 card rewards you see are upgraded. The first treasure chest you open is empty. This also demands a high value path since you're losing a relic in exchange for this bonus. Getting 3 upgraded cards on the first 3 floors is not a bad thing to do. However, they are generally just going to be upgraded damage cards or upgraded block cards, so just a front-loaded power boost. So you do want to fight as many elites, as many hallways as possible with Silver Crucible. Small Capsule. Upon pickup, obtain a random relic. Random relic is quite good. It's not a random common relic, it's random relic from any rarity. Common relic are just more common. Since you don't know what a relic is, so obviously it could be doing completely nothing, or it can be like anchored and is extremely strong in Act 1. So this also demands a flexible path, but I would say it's a very high value Neow option. And finally, we have Stone Humidifier. When you rest at the rest side, raise your max HP by 5. This, in the best case scenario, maybe saves you 15 HP in Act 1. This doesn't directly help you fight any elites, so you still need to solve the problem of having enough output in your deck to actually kill elites. So it doesn't even allow you to take a more dangerous path in Act 1. It also demands you to have actual campfire to rest at. Sometimes you don't want to rest, sometimes you want to upgrade your card. And in the long term, max HP is just not super valuable compared to some of these other Neow options. So I would say it's a low value Neow option. Part 4, Elites. Act 1 elites can make or break your run. They provide a massive power boost in terms of relics, but can often kill you if not prepared. I'm going to cover each individual elite in a separate video, but here's the rule of thumb to prepare for all of them. Most Act 1 elites are damage races. To competently fight them, you want your deck to do these two things. Output 90 damage over 3 turns, and have some sort of AoE solution. Usually it is not sufficient to only add attacks to your deck, but you will also want a bit of damage scaling. The most common example is vulnerable application, which increases all of your attack damage, but a tiny bit of strength gain or energy gain can also do the job. It's not very common that you can construct a deck that can meet these damage requirements to effectively kill an elite after 3 card rewards, and that's why potions come in. A vulnerable potion can amplify all of your damage, and a fire potion can bridge the damage gap you are currently lacking. If you lack AoE, an explosive potion can get the job done as well. And as the act progresses and your deck improves, it's easier to meet those damage thresholds I have mentioned. Then you don't necessarily require a potion to fight later elites. Now, when do you want to fight your first elite? Generally speaking, you want to fight every easy hallway, so 3 hallways, to get maximum card rewards without losing too much HP. Potentially visit a campfire to upgrade a damage card, and if you don't have a potion, have the option to go to a shop to purchase a potion. Now your deck should be relatively prepared to fight the first elite. Generally, the first elite before the chest, before you are getting a free relic, is the most difficult. So having the option to rest after the first elite can be nice. Having the first elite into no campfire into a forced second elite, so no way to pivot, it's not generally super safe. So unless you have a front-loaded Neow option, I do not recommend taking back-to-back elites without a way to pivot or rest. Elites after the chest gets much easier because you get a free relic from the chest, and your deck is going to improve throughout the act. So I will try to maximize as many elites as possible in the second half of the act, so the part after the chest. Part 5, Examples. To apply the knowledge I've shared in the previous sections, let me show you an example, Act 1, for each of the characters. And I will also talk about some more character-dependent Act 1 choices. So first off, we have the Ironclad. Now, as I have mentioned, Transform 2 is one of the strongest Neow options, so we're probably going to be taking that. And the first 2 options are not great. Now, on the Ironclad, you are generally looking to take more elites compared to other characters due to your Burning Blood. You are going to be getting 6 HP every single combat, allowing you to do a slightly more dangerous Act 1. So the first thing I will do is to identify the path with the most elites. And it looks like we can only get 2. Oh no, we can get 3 on the left side. So this path might be something I am going to be very interested in. If the first elite goes wrong, we can rest afterwards. And if we are feeling weak, we don't even need to take 2 more elites. We can take 1 more elite as a pivot. So the path on the left side looks quite solid. The only downside is we're going to 1 shop, then 2 shops forced. And we are not getting a gold Neow bonus. Generally speaking, it's not super great to visit shops without money. But we can take Transform 2 and re-evaluate. If the Transform 2 breaks very hard, we also have different options through the middle of the act. For example, 2 campfires into 2 late elites. That is acceptable. We have transformed into 2 damage cards. They are better than strikes and defense. So this probably says I want to take 3 elites. So we're going to be looking to go up the left side. So our first card reward is Perfected Strike, Stone Armor, and Grapple. We don't need Perfected Strike or Grapple. We have transformed away a Strike, so P-Strike is worse. And Grapple as a damage card, we just don't need. We have like 2 other damage cards added already. You could consider Stone Armor just for a little bit of block. Stone Armor does like the upgrade. We don't have that many upgrades to give throughout the act, but just to save a bit of HP in the early parts of the act, you can take the stone armor. Now, there are several very good things in the shop. There's always a potion to make your first elite fight safer. There's the Inferno to cover AoE. And there's Prowess just to give you a bit of strength and dexterity. And strength is something we're interested in as Ironclad in general. And Thrash is already a double hit, so strength is twice as good on Thrash. Dexterity just means you take a bit less damage in the upcoming hallway fights. Considering we have 3 more fights to go to potentially get a potion, and we can rest after the elite fight if it goes wrong, I will be picking up Prowess. We obtain Touch of Insanity, so by not purchasing a potion in the shop, we now just get a potion for free. And it's a decent thing to do to play it on a bash, so just like get 2 energy. It's not the best potion ever in the early game, but it's okay. Here we have Headbutt, Anger, Rupture. Rupture is doing nothing in the deck, so we are not going to be picking Rupture. Headbutt lets you put the card on top. Synergizes with Thrash. You play Thrash. You make it bigger, then you play that again. And Anger is just a decent damage card, but I think the Headbutt Thrash interaction is good enough to take Headbutt. And as you can see, after 3 hallway fights, we are on full HP thanks to the Burning Blood. Also, just the fact our deck is a lot better than the base deck since you transform 2 cards. We got a Vulnerable Potion. That's a very, very strong potion to fight the first elite, so I'm quite happy with that. You could take Hemokinesis here. Has a very good upgrade. This just allows us to pretty much farm all 3 elites in the act. I will be taking Hemokinesis. So one thing we don't have in the deck is the lack of AoE. To compensate for the lack of AoE, you can just have more damage. And Hemokinesis is a very efficient damage card. So we lost 20 HP after Burning Blood to the Advanced Hallway. So as I have mentioned, Advanced Hallways are quite dangerous. So usually I do not recommend fighting them before the first elite. However, on this map, we have the Transform 2, so you can consider doing this. And we are the Ironclad, we can go a little bit more aggressive in Act 1. Here's the Inferno for AoE if you want it. I think in this deck, you don't necessarily need Inferno, since you have added so much damage. You can just burst down like 1 target of the AoE fight without needing Inferno. And we have the Giant Head. So this enemy wants you to play a lot of cards and it gets slow stacks. And usually you want to play your largest attack as your final card. It's a pretty steep damage requirement. We can consider using Vulnerable Potion here. It's going to save a lot of HP. I do want to play Thrash. Actually, we have Headbutt, right? Yeah, we got Headbutt. So we can have Thrash eat Hemokinesis and Headbutt Thrash. Then it's just going to finish it off. So you go Stone Armor, Strike Thrash. Oh, it's probably dead. And put Thrash on top, Pommel Strike into Thrash. And we took 0 damage to the elite. So we got Potion Belt from the elite. It doesn't do anything right now, but it's a good long-term value relic. For card reward, we got Rage, Thunderclap, Juggling. Juggling is quite bad. It doesn't really do anything right now. Rage and Thunderclap can be considered. Rage is just more block. Ironclad kind of want to play a lot of attacks. The Rage actually get decent value. And Thunderclap just applies some vulnerable AoE. The AoE part is like not super relevant. It's only 4 damage. So it's just vulnerable application. I feel okay about damage right now. I think I'm going to take Rage. And we do not really need to rush, we're quite healthy. The first upgrade probably just goes on prowess, 1 more strength and dexterity. So in this spot, you can definitely consider taking the upgrade here. Usually transform is higher value, but we have already transformed 2 as a start. And we have very, very good upgrades. You have Hemokinesis and have Rage upgrade. Both are quite nice. Even Stone Armor upgrade is not bad. So we're quite behind on upgrades. We are going to fight 2 more elites with no upgrades. So let's take the upgrade. I'll just take Hemokinesis upgrade to make the elite fights easier. That's a decent thing. Third turn, start of third turn, gain strength and dexterity. Not the best, not the worst. So in this shop, we have Forgotten Ritual on sale, a pretty strong energy option. We do have Thrash, which is a card that's gonna exhaust another card. And we have Infernal Blade, which also exhausts. You can consider Forgotten Ritual. You can also consider Second Wind, which is a pretty good block option for late game. Right now, we don't have that many skills to exhaust, so it's not the best thing right now. I think I'm going to buy potions, because we got Potion Belt, and we're gonna fight 2 more elites. So let's buy some potions. You could still consider buying the Forgotten Ritual. Since it's on sale, you can probably just buy it. It's gonna be good later. It's not like the best card in the short term, but we are pretty strong for the short term. The bird. The bird just hits you every single turn. So you just need to kill it before it kills you. You could consider Cure All here. Maybe you want to draw into the Rage, I want to draw into Bash to apply Vulnerable. So I think I would do that. Yeah, Bash. We have lost quite a bit of HP in that fight, but I'm not too worried. We have basically no Holy Fights to fight and have 1 more potion. You could consider Armaments here just to have another block card. And we got the Smooth Stone, so block cards are a little better. We probably want to rest right before the boss. I would take Armaments. Oh god. So from that hallway fight, we healed. We took 0 damage and healed for 6 and got a potion. That's actually quite good. None of these cards do anything. Damage card, and this card just is not needed. We already have Thrash to exhaust attacks. Usually losing 5 HP to gain colorless card is really good. And we do have 2 potions. I don't think I'm actually worried about dying here, even though I have 20 HP. And we have Equilibrium, a very strong block card. And this elite fight is guaranteed to be the Frog Parasite. If you fight 3 elites, you are guaranteed to fight all 3. So we could consider Touch of Insanity here, just to make Bash free. So we're basically able to do the elite fight with no HP loss and only 1 potion use, which is nice. As I have mentioned later on in the act, your decks are more equipped to fight elites. So even though I'm on low HP, taking this elite is still not that risky. And we get a potion back, which is great. Happy Flower, which is great. And Vicious. When you apply Vulnerable, draw a card. Unfortunately, I don't really apply Vulnerable. I have 1 Bash. This card is quite strong in the correct deck, but I don't think we can take it right now, since it doesn't help against the boss that much. So in this fight, we could consider just scale up the Thrash and don't need to push damage super quickly. So I'm going to be blocking. But as you can see, after you skill up the Thrash, the boss doesn't really do anything. Got a potion back, which is great, and we get to choose a rare card. We could probably just take Fiendfire here. The other two cards just doesn't do anything. And Fiendfire is great. Opens up some potential exhaust synergy, and it just deals a lot of damage. Also scales well with the strength we have. So that's Ironclad Act 1. As I have mentioned, Ironclad compared to other characters, it can go a little bit more aggro, so we are able to do only one campfire in the act and triple elites. But since our Transform 2 was strong and we have the Burning Blood, we can do this path pretty safely. Maybe on another character, you consider going to campfire to start and 2 late elites. That's a quite safe way to play the act, so you can take like a long-term Neow Bonus. On Ironclad, you want to farm as many elites as possible usually, so we can just go for the 3 elites. Next I have the Silent. The Silent is also really strong in Act 1 like the Ironclad. So usually you can also be pretty aggro. Okay, we have 333 gold. And these two options are not the most exciting, so if I can get an early shop, I would take the money. And we do not have an early shop. Taking a curse into elite fight into shop is probably just like dying, because you're fighting this elite with no help and you have a curse. So here you can consider taking Lost Coffer. Lost Coffer helps you more in the elite compared to this elite only Neow Bonus, because you can use the potion against the elite and you actually have like cards. This doesn't give you any increased output. So if you're taking a Lost Coffer, we want to go aggressive. How many elites can we get? 3 elites. 3 elites. You can go 1, 2, 3 like this. Untouchable is pretty nice if you can discard it. We don't really have a consistent way to discard on floor 0. Sucker Punch is just like, okay, damage and weak. Escape Plan is also not bad, but I think on floor 1 you will want the weakness application and the damage. And yeah, we're going to run into all 3 elites here. Okay, we took 1 damage against the first hallway. Honestly, a bit of a low roll with the Sucker Punch added, but it is what it is. Getting another potion is nice. We have Piercing Wail on offer. The other 2 cards are not great. We cannot apply poison. And I'm not spending 2 energy. Or 3 shivs. So I guess we take Piercing Wail. This card's really good. Saves you a lot of HP in hallways and elites. We are offered an accuracy for the shiv card we did not take last floor. Yeah, clearly should have taken the shiv card. But yeah, this card reward is just another Piercing Wail. It's just a higher quality card than the rest of the choices. Thanks to the Piercing Wail, we took 0 damage there. We're offered an attack potion. And the poison stab, you probably have to take a poison stab here just to have some damage for the upcoming elite. Attack potion or weak potion. Weak potion we have neutralize and sucker punch, and we have added 2 Piercing Wail. Since our deck is so defensive, we should probably take attack potion. A shop. Footwork, pretty much the strongest defensive option Silent has. Leg sweep, the other strongest defensive option Silent has. So these are the highest quality cards in the shop. You could consider Hidden Gem, but we did not have enough money. I do not want to lose a tap potion since I kind of wanted to fight the elite. We can lose colorless potion. This usually doesn't do that much. It's pretty inconsistent. And here we could take an upgraded Snake Bite. We have added so much defensive stuff into the deck, you probably just take the damage card. 10 poison is a lot of poison. So for the Terror Eel, it's going to attack you every single turn. And it will apply a Vigor buff to itself. So Vigor says that the next attack deal X more damage. After you do 75 damage to it, it's going to get stunned. After it gets stunned, it's going to make you vulnerable for 99 turns. That's why it's called Terror Eel. So the trick to this is you do not want to stun this elite when it has a Vigor buff. If you do that, it's going to get stunned, it's going to apply vulnerable to you, and it's going to attack you with the Vigor buff when you're vulnerable. So usually that's way too much damage. So you want to stun it when it does not have the Vigor buff. Otherwise, you just kill it. It's a damage check. Since you have the Snake Bite, we can just block a bit and let the poison do the work. And you see this guy is on 77 HP, it has 70, so 2 HP away from being stunned. So you want to stun this right now when it does not have the Vigor buff, and we can go in with the Snake Bite. Now it's gonna take a turn off to apply the debuff. And next turn it should die. So usually if you can just do like burst damage to burst it down after it gets stunned, you will not take this hit. But if your deck cannot do that, you do not want this hit to be even larger. 27 is already quite big, and that's without a Vigor. We got a Toxic Egg. That's kind of insane. 29 gold and a potion, so we got 2 more potions, so we can definitely fight more elites. We could honestly consider the Accelerant here. We have so much poison in the deck. We got poison. So it's like just a damage card that we kind of do want more damage. Piercing Will, we have a lot of copies already, and Untouchable, we don't really discard. I would rest here. With the Toxic Egg, your long-term value is like through the roof. So there's no reason to risk it. This hallway fight is like the most dangerous hallway fight in the underdogs, maybe. It's one of the most dangerous ones. I don't even mind using a potion here, since we do not draw leg sweep on turn 1. We lost a lot of HP, but we did get a potion back. And we got a bit of a nothing. You could take the Dagger Spray, just for AoE. Dagger Spray with no upgrade is pretty sad, but if you can upgrade it, it's okay. Do kind of want the AoE card. We have not fought the AoE elite yet. AoE. So with the Toxic Egg, you probably just take common card. I mean, even without the Toxic Egg, you cannot really afford to lose 14 HP in this kind of situation. Oh my god, they're so green. With the Accelerant, you probably take Deadly Poison and take a block card with a Footwork. You can take Dodge and Roll instead of Deflect since you have Footwork. That's also not bad. 1 energy, 12 block is a lot. I think it's possible to fight 2 elites here, but I think there's no reason to take that risk. Again, with the Toxic Egg, so you can just rush here. Another Dodge and Roll. Well, we have Footwork in the deck, and it's just a very efficient card. Block also goes pretty well with the poison damage plan. Now we can fight an elite. I'll take the Dagger Spray just for these guys. Maybe we don't even care. Maybe we just play a Accelerant leg sweep or Footwork leg sweep. I think if you play 2 powers into dagger spray, you probably always get out. You can just rest before the boss. They should always be safe. Rewarded with a meat on the bone. This relic is very good. We might not even need to rest, because if we heal 12 in the next floor, we can just like apply a bunch of weakness to this boss. This boss doesn't really do anything. It just have a giant explosion at the end. If you can make that weak, you basically don't take too much damage. Energy potion is not as good as the other pots. And we can take a calculated gamble. So we only took like 2 damage and we healed 12. On 30 HP against the Waterfall Giant, you probably don't need to rest. Vulnerable Potion is not super relevant. We are mostly doing poison damage. Could take a Piercing Wheel Plus over nothing. We don't really have the card draw to make Tactician good yet. Yeah, here you can just upgrade. I think upgrading Footwork makes this boss very safe. And here you can see it just does like a big explosion at the end. If you have Footwork Plus, you can just block it. I didn't even get to apply weakness, even though my deck has so much weakness, and I still don't take too much damage. We are offered a Malaise or a Burst. Tools of the Trade is a good card, but against upgraded skills, it's a little tough to take the tools here. Malaise is very, very strong. Very strong defensive option. Defensive options are great with our poison plan. This run is probably just gonna be apply a bunch of poison and sit there and block, and you have Malaise to help you with that. You could probably get away with fighting one more elite. We did get some unlucky hallway fights in question marks, but overall we also got good relics, balances it out. Next up we have the Regent. The Regent is very, very weak against advanced hallways because the Regent can't really block, so you're gonna lose a lot of HP to advanced hallways. The Regent usually have access to good damage, so fighting elites is slightly easier. Overall, not as strong Act 1 as Silent and Ironclad. So here we can transform 2, probably always gonna take transform 2. You could consider taking gold here, but we are not forced into an early shop. So on the Regent, basically you want to have a lot of campfires to recover HP after you lose them all to elite. So you can see this path in the middle being quite attractive. Taking 3 elites on the left side for the Regent is a bit of a tall ask, especially considering there are no fires after the first one. They're probably looking at the 2 elite act with a lot of campfires. A lot of campfires also speaks for transform 2 because you transform into random cards. If this option is not here, you can probably just take the gold and go to the early shop. Okay, so we have like a quote-unquote bad transform. This does nothing. And this is a bad card, although better than Strike, of course. So now I'm suddenly a little bit more interested in the early shop because we want to buy potion. So I might be looking at this path. If you do not need to go to the early shop, it's probably better off to go right here to avoid the shop. But I think with the quote-unquote bad transform, we do need a bit of help. The Act boss is Phantom. The Phantom is also not the best boss for a Regent. It requires you to hit it a lot. And so if you have like Sovereign Blade, you hit it once, it's going to do 1 damage. We do have 6 damage 3 times, so that helps. So let's go here, up the left side, and fight 2 elites in the Act. Alright, the first card reward is Rotting War, Photon Cut, Glitter Stream. Usually I would never consider Rotting War, but since we have transformed into Sword Sage, So this is one of the transform. You transform into a card that does nothing, but opens up some card picks you would normally not pick. So you could just take the Forge card just to have it. Then that's pretty significant boss and elite killing power. Elite fights usually let you actually deploy a expensive power like this, compared to advanced hallways, which are much faster, so you can never deploy this. And the Sovereign Blade will do a lot of damage. So this event, so we are already saying the act is weak. We have a kind of a brick card in the deck. You do not really want to add another curse, and getting a potion here is good. Helps us fight the first elite. Yeah, that's like a... No, that's a potion that exists in the game. Now we are offered the same cards again, and the Crush Under. Crush Under is AoE, and it also makes the enemies lose strength. It's like an okay card for Act 1. But as you can see, these are 3 easy hallways, and we're already losing HP like crazy on the Regent. Regent is not really good at blocking, so you just lose random HP to hallways. This does help, it applies weakness to the enemy. Some interesting options here. There's a Guiding Star, which is really powerful. 1 energy, 12 damage, draw 3 cards. There's Child of Stars, one of the best block options on the character. There's Convergence, retain your hand. I think I'm gonna be very interested in a potion here, since we're low on HP. Too bad these potions are like not that good. Considering we have a weak potion already. So if this fight, next fight drops a potion, we overlay potions. You maybe don't buy the potion. And we do have damage in the deck with Sword Sage and Forge. They could consider just not buying these potions and buy either a card or a card remove. I think Guiding Star on sale is very attractive. We also don't have a way to spend stars right now. And we can buy Convergence. It retains your hand, so if you play Guiding Star to draw 2 more, you also get to retain. It also makes energy next turn. This is slightly stronger in the short term compared to Child, and both are equally as good later on in the run. Okay, another pretty nasty hallway. You want to kill the Strangler first, because it applies a nasty debuff to you, and you just take damage every single turn. Didn't lose too much HP and no potion drop. We do have the weak potion for next floor, and if you say our deck is heavily invested in damage cards, having a defensive potion is not the worst. Here you can take a Particle Wall, pretty much the best block card on the character. We have this card already, and this card is not as good as Particle Wall. Actually, this card is just not good. Especially if you're trying to do damage with Sovereign Blade, the strength doesn't even do anything. Yeah, here we do have to rest. A little low on HP. So yeah, against this elite, for example, you actually get to deploy the Sovereign Blade power on turn 1. This is an AoE check. We do technically have an AoE card in the deck, so hopefully it's not too bad. Alright, so we're probably gonna get out pretty cleanly. He lost like 20 HP, but no potions used. We got Letter Opener. Letter Opener is not bad, just some more AoE damage. Also, we have a 0 cost skill, so we can proc it. Explosive Potion is fine. Yeah, we're offered a Hidden Cache over some random things that don't matter. These cards are like okay on floor 1, but at this point, with the Particle Wall added, we are very interested in making more stars. Potion build is great. We had 2 potions. Now we have 4 potion slots. So unfortunately, we need to rest again. That's basically how Regent Act 1 goes. You fight the advanced hallway, you just lose a bunch of HP. But Regent late game is very strong, so having a slightly weaker Act 1 isn't the end of the world. So let's just lose 100 gold for Transform 2. That's very, very good. Strikes are very bad. And we got Bombardment, which is great. This is also good against the boss since you hit it every single turn. Terraforming kind of sucks. It's better than Strike though. And we do have a multi-hit attack technically. Could just rest again. And fight another elite. The bird. Oh, this guy just hits you. Yeah, this guy just hits you. That's all it does. So you cannot really stall this guy too much. Let's push damage. You could consider the weak potion for the bird. I want to save the weak potion for the boss. We're offered at the start of your second turn, gain 2 energy. That's not too bad. Star Potion is also not too bad. You could take Spoils of Battle to forge more, draw 2 cards. And forge is not the worst thing to have with the Sword Sage. Also, drawing 2 cards is good on turn 2. So I'm down to take a Spoils of Battle. We offer the King's Courage. That's also really good with our Sword Sage. And these cards don't really do much. You could consider resting again, but with 4 potions. I will make an upgrade. The Bombardment upgrade is pretty good. It's like 6 damage. Then it's like 6 damage every single turn, right? I will be playing Celestial Might here just to get rid of the slippery charges. The Avantum is probably one of the most dangerous bosses because it has a lot of HP and the slippery charge makes it difficult to kill it. And it hits you pretty hard, but we have the weak potion, so we don't need to worry too much. Weak potion probably comes out next turn. Yup. We are offered a Void Form. We do not want another Sword Sage. We have one already. We can take Seeking Edge to make our Sovereign Blade AoE, but I have Letter Opener for AoE a bit. I have Crush Under for AoE a bit. So you probably just take Void Form. Void Form also makes your Sovereign Blade free to play. So yeah, so Regent Act 1, usually you are weaker compared to other characters. So you do need to path a little bit more conservatively. The transform was not particularly great. Transform into this card, which is like kind of bad. However, it's better than a Strike. And transform into Sword Sage, which is like one of the worst cards on the Regent. But since you got Sword Sage on floor 0, you can pick like a Forge card or 2, then you have at least some sort of scaling damage, basically covered for a long time. So if you transform into this, it's not even so bad. And since the transform is kind of low rolled, you cannot really fight too many elites. You cannot really fight too many elites on Regent anyways in Act 1. So yeah, because you are bleeding every single hallway. So Regent Act 1, you do want to go to more campfires. Next I've got the Necrobinder. Necrobinder kind of has the opposite problem of Regent. You're able to block a lot, but you don't necessarily have enough damage to kill early elites. So finding enough damage on Necrobinder is one of the more important things. We're offered remove 2 for losing HP. It's a very potent Neow Bonus, if I can get away with it. It looks like we could potentially get away with it. I see a path that's relatively safe and doesn't require you to take too many elites. Otherwise, you have Random Rare or Transform 1, both are okay. I think remove 2 is enough value. I would take the risk to do it. And then Act is not too dangerous. Remove 2 also very good on Necrobinder because strikes are terrible. You have cards that lose their strength, so they're even worse than usual. And being able to consistently block already means you do more damage because Unleash. Here we offer Defile, Wisp, pull aggro. Defile just deals damage. It's a very efficient damage card. And we remove 2 strikes, so we are probably gonna take Defile. We got a Vulnerable Potion. Vulnerable Potion is decent with the Defile, decent with the Unleash. And we have a High 5 or Sculpting Strike. You're not really under any pressure to take any of these mediocre damage cards. We have added a Defile. And we are able to draw the Defile more often because we remove 2 cards from the deck. Can just skip this and go next. But yeah, we have lost no HP in the first 3 floors. This is generally what you expect on Necrobinder, losing no HP for the easy hallway. Bone Shards is just a great AoE card, and even if it's not AoE, you still gain 9 damage, 9 block, very efficient. Okay, receive a guilty. This is a delayed card remove. I don't think I'm interested in a random potion. We have 1 potion already, and we're fighting 2 more fights. If you're saying we're gonna dodge this elite, we want to get more value out of the act. This is a good way to do it. It's a delayed card remove. And strikes are terrible anyways. Not even that different compared to a guilty. Just imagine that's a strike. It like doesn't do anything. Next up we have Soulstorm. It doesn't do anything. I have Reeve and Flatlung, which are also not really interested in. Could take Reeve here just to have 1 energy 9. We got 1 energy 13 and 1 energy 9 AoE already. Get a Clumsy for a Relic. So Clumsy, Exhaust, and Relic generally way better than 60 gold. So again, we want to get value out of the act, we can just take the Relic. That's really good. It's kind of like a bag of prep. We have received another vulnerable potion. Double vulnerable potion. I take Drain Power. If the deck is small, you just play Drain Power, then your entire deck is upgraded. Also can upgrade like the card from Big Hat. It's not the worst thing to have in the deck. Here we definitely need to rust. With double vulnerable pod, I think you can just fight this elite without too much issue. Oh, we got the real backup prep. Lose all gold. Lose 194 to transform strike and defend. Can also transform a Clumsy. That just transform into another curse though, so don't do that. We're not really going to a shop, and transform 2 for 200 is still like worth it. So we can do strike defend. Got Page Storm Drain Power. Well, that's definitely better than strike and defend. Page Storm draws with Clumsy, draws with Defile, draws with Ascender's Bane. We have the statue. So definitely a vulnerable potion moment. We generated a lethality from the Big Hat. That's really good. This thing just hits you for 25 after 3 turns, so you just want to kill it before it kills you. And you want to play your attacks in the order of their damage. You want to play the smaller attack first, so your bigger attack gets more slow stacks. We do have lethality in place, so we want to play the biggest attack first, then play small, then play big. I don't want to play Bone Shards here, because I want to keep my Aussie alive. So you can go Drain Power, Unleash Drain Power. We offer the Mango, have a lot of max HP. We offer the Dirge. We could consider the Dirge because our deck is small. We can also just take Grey Warden, which is a better card in the short term. Dirge after the nerf isn't exactly the best card ever, and Grey Warden is good. 50 HP, relatively healthy. We do not need to rust. We can make an upgrade. Usually I will upgrade Bone Shards or Page Storm. Considering we make 2 cards and draw 2 more cards on turn 1, energy upgrade is slightly better. Can immediately just fight the elite. We're fighting the frog, and we do have AoE here, so I'm not too worried. With the frog parasite, you really want to kill by turn 3, because it's gonna put more status cards on turn 3. You don't want to have 3 more statuses in the deck. Unfortunately, we cannot really do it here. So it is what it is. Drawing Bone Shards here is okay. We can kill into Bone Shards. Feel like a minimum damage. We got the Power Potion, which is pretty nice. Happy Flower is good. Defy, weaken enemy. I would like to weaken the enemy. It also draws card with Page Storm. We offer some cards that don't really matter. So it's AoE, but we have better AoE in the deck already. These cards are just not great. The Dexterity Potion is pretty good on Necrobinder, but I do like my potions right now. We might need to Fear Paw the boss. Because after you get the boss down to half HP, it's gonna debuff you, then you are only able to play one card for one turn. It's gonna do that over and over again. So you kind of want to kill it quickly after you put it down to half HP. So you can use Fear Potion for that. You can also just rip the Power Potion turn 1 against the boss and save Fear Paw for Act 2. But these potions are good. I think we do not need to rest here. Can upgrade the Bone Shard. But yeah, I think I would just Power Potion on turn 1, considering Fear Potion is a little better in hallway fights. Can do lethality here. And what this guy does is after you get it down to 160, it gets stunned. Then after it recovers from the stun, it's gonna apply a debuff to you. That debuff says you can only play one card on that turn. So you usually will just get hit on that turn. And it's going to hit you, and it's going to apply the debuff again, and just loop that. So after you get it down to below 160, you want to kill it relatively quickly. But before that, we have a bit of time, and our entire deck is gonna be upgraded thanks to Drain Power, so I'm not too worried. So here it's gonna apply the debuff that lets me only play one card. We can bank a bit of Aussie HP to prepare for that. Yeah, another issue, we take very little damage against this boss. And we are offered the best card in the game. Well, the best card on the character. Draw card and energy every single turn. That's very good. You could consider the hang here because the deck is small against nothing, but against the main, you just take the domain. So that's a Necrobinder Act 1. We took a dangerous or long-term Neow bonus by taking 16 HP to my face. So we're able to just fight no elites in the first half of the act, go to the campfire, and fight still 2 elites relatively safely. And you had the option to pivot to not even fight the first elite. So here's a safe-ish path in Act 1 and a more long-term Neow bonus. Next up, we have the Defect. The Defect has a lot of ways to make orbs, which are passive output, so it's just very strong in Act 1. Usually you can fight a lot of elites as the Defect. Looks like we can get 2 elites at most. Actually, that's not true. We can get 3 elites. The 3 elite path is probably not super doable. There are basically no fires and just like 5 advanced hallways. So you cannot really do 3 elites. So you could take gold here and just go right. Go to the early shop and get 2 elites. Oh, actually, hold up. There technically is a 3D path. That's also not super doable though. Yeah, so on this map, you probably cannot really get 3 elites. You can only get 2 elites. So maybe with that, you don't really want to take the gold. You want to take remove 2 for long-term value. This boss doesn't really do anything, just hit you. And if you have some AoE, it's not too bad. The issue with taking remove 2 is you are going to the shop still. That's like the safe path through the act. You can actually go here though, right? Yeah, I can dodge this. Get 2 campfires into 2 late elites. So again, I will probably take remove 2 over the gold, even though there is an early shop available. You're not getting too much value out of the act afterwards. Only 2 elites. So you might as well take a long-term value option. Defect doesn't like their base cards. They do not make orbs. We are offered the Barrage, a Sweeping Beam, and the Bing Xiao on floor 1. Barrage is not really a consideration here. I don't have any other orb cards. Sweeping Beam for AoE. The boss also kind of wants AoE. And Bing Xiao kind of doesn't do anything with only 2 strikes in the deck. So you could take Sweeping Beam on floor 1 here. We offer the Strength Potion. It's okay with a Sweeping Beam. And we are offered the Shadow Shield or Kill. Both very good cards. Considering the boss again has AoE, Chill is better in that fight. Chill also just blocks for more on average compared to Shadow Shield. With a Sweeping Beam, I already have a way to spend energy, so 0 cost card gets better. All our upgrades are pretty good. And we are not even losing HP, right? So you could just take this a bit, click this option a bit until you round out max HP. Usually the first 2 clicks are pretty free. The third one losing 12 HP is a bit steep. So I think after 2 clicks is usually when you stop. This event fights some enemies. The enemies are like the 4 wigglers from the frog elite. We do have AoE, we do have the chill. So we could fight them. I don't think they are gonna lose more than 19 HP. Then we get to look at the card reward and the potion. But yeah, the chill is just gonna block so much here. Look at this. So we get the quote-unquote free fight, free healing, and we get to look at the card reward. And go for gold for the eyes here. The other options are not great, and weakness is good. Cure is a very strong pot. I would probably take that over Strength Potion. We are offered a Claw. I think it's very reasonable to take Loop over Darkness here. Loop is also damage. It's like worse damage than Darkness. But right now, I'm not too concerned about the immediate short-term damage. And Zap is upgraded already. A shop. Question mark shop is kind of annoying. There's like not much stuff here. We don't really make status cards. You could consider buying Rocket Punch here, but again, if you do not make status card, it doesn't do much. You can buy Rocket Punch and Turbo. That just gets too expensive. I think we just take card remove and go next here. Claw. Definitely do not buy the second loop, by the way. We're overlaying potion, which is quite annoying. This potion doesn't give you that much, and we have pretty decent potions in the potion belt. We offer the Ball Lightning. Very good damage card. Also offered Hotfix. Hotfix to go with the chill, to go with the loop is also not bad. Okay, it doesn't actually work with loop, but it works with the zap. Pharaoh doesn't have a target. You should like go for the eyes. I think you should take the Ball Lightning here, just to have another orb in the deck. You could consider fighting this elite, but we are kind of low, and we already removed 2 cards, and our upgrades are nice. I like loop upgrade, I like sweeping beam upgrade, I like go for upgrades. Let's make the loop upgrade. A little bit of sustain. Let's make the sweeping beam upgrade next. With the 12 HP in the potion belt, I don't think we need to rust. The head. We break down turn 1. Let's draw 2 cards. Alright, much better. So I guess the giant statue, you want to play your smallest attack before your larger attacks to use slow stacks. So here you can spend 3 energy on attacks. So you want to do cast first. That's not an attack. Then do cast, go for strike Ball Lightning, you know? So again, we have 3 energy worth of stuff. You play the defense first and play the attacks last. And it's almost dead. Take very little damage against the giant statue. The loop upgrade is like some passive damage. Power Cell. At the start of each combat, add 2 0-cost cards from your draw pile into your hand. We have Zap, Go For, Chill. So it's drawing at least 2 cards every single combat. Here we can take Adaptive Strike. I don't think we want Adaptive Strike. We have damage cards already. We got Sweeping Beam, we got Ball Lightning. Hologram is a little bit better than usual because 0-cost card is always going to be on turn 1, so you can also always hologram at 0 cost. That seems not bad. I don't even think we need to rush here. Let's upgrade Go For, or even Chill, because you can replay it. That's our only Frost Orb. Yeah, let's upgrade Chill. Because we just paid Hologram, right? So here you can hologram this chill and block for like a shit million. Like that. Alright, 2-0 against Advanced Hallway with the chill upgrade. Oh my god, those 3 cards are very good. I think with the loop in the deck, the hotfix is not super urgent. Sunder, very strong hallway card. You just sunder a minion, and you get the energy refunded. Null is weakness and damage. And we have a lot of 0 cost, so like this 2 cost doesn't matter too much. I think I will go for the null. Let's fight another elite. It's this guy. We got the sweeping beam. We should be chilling. Chilling. Got an Eternal Feather out of the elite. I don't think we need another ball lightning. We could go Ball Cup or White Noise. Ball Cup is like a good upgrade, and we are kind of still blocking with defense. And strength with Sweeping Beam is not so bad. Warp slots are good and all, but that's pretty juicy, right? Yeah, I don't think we need to rest here. This boss just like hits you. It doesn't do anything, it just hits you. So if you can kill the minions, you're usually good. Yeah, we're able to dispatch the boss with no issue whatsoever. Get a focus potion. This potion is really good. And we got the Creative AI. Creative AI basically solved the end game for free. It's like very bad in fast fight, but we are pretty covered. Front low, we got like the Zap upgrade, the Defend Plus, the Chill. That's very good. We have Sustain. So you can take Creative AI and just solve basically every boss. And the other 2 options are just not great. Voltaic for 3 energy just costs way too much. And we don't really need this. Like this card is also bad against short fights, right? So Voltaic and Creative AI are both bad in short fights. And Creative AI just is more value than Voltaic. Hyper Beam sucks. Let's leave it at that. So again, this is like a bit of a low value act, so to speak. We only get 2 elites and 3 fires, so pretty safe. We can just remove 2 cards for 16 HP. Defect really hates base cards. They do not say orb. Or if you are doing like some 0 cost claw stuff, they do not say claw. So remove 2 is good on Defect. That's the complete Act 1 guide. Let me recap the core concepts. 1, you want to improve your deck as much as possible, and elites are the best ways to do that. 2, always look at the map when choosing your Neow bonus, as it can vary depending on the map layout. 3, deal 90 damage over 3 turns and have an AoE solution to prepare for elites. If your deck is lacking, then potions can help bridge that gap. Let me know in the comments what is your approach to Act 1, and subscribe for more Slay the Spire 2 strategy content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.